Hey, and welcome to another HTML video. And this time we're going to tackle forms. Before we get into coding anything, we need to understand how forms work. So, what is the idea of a form? So, if you if you go to like a doctor's office for the first time, you need to fill out like this huge application. Put your name, any past illnesses, are you allergic to anything, blah blah blah, and then when you're done, you take that form, give it to the receptionist, and then they use that information to diagnose and for future times when you're there. So they'll have it ready so that you don't have to fill out every time. So the whole idea is to collect data from a visitor. So we take this concept, put it into a web page, and you fill out information, and then now that website has information about you, such as when you log in. You signed up for the first time, and then now all you need to do is put in your email and your password. It'll look it up and see if that's correct, and then you're in. You don't have to sign up every time you visit the website. So there's other ideas. It's not just about signing up and logging in, but it could be online applications, and probably the most popular form is the Google search bar. That's a form. It's very simple, just in the middle of the screen, you search, and then it retrieves data for you. That's an example of a form. So let's go over the end-to-end process when you visit a website, and then what happens after you finish filling out the form and hit submit. So this diagram is taken from John Duckett's book on HTML and CSS, which we'll have in the description, but it's a simple example as to how a form works. So you'll go in this example, you're going to put in a username, and you're going to select one of the 5 radio buttons. Now in the next forms video, I'll kind of explain step number 2, where it talks about name and value. But essentially, the username and the I vote for, those are each called form controls. And whenever you code in HTML, you have to give it a name attribute, each of those. And then so the name attribute for username and the I vote for radio button, and the value that you select, input or select, those are pairs. So it's going to be the name attribute and the value that you entered, and those are going to be sent over to what's called a server. Now the server will take this information and do something with it. A very common example is that it's going to save it to a database. That might not always be the case, but that's just a more common thing to do, such as when you're signing up for a website. They're going to take your data, save it, and the next time you come, like I said before, you put in your username and password, and it'll look you up in the database, and if it's correct, you're in. So after the server does something with your information, and again, it's got to be a programming language that does this. Not HTML can't do this. It has to be a programming language. So PHP, Java, those are common ones that will process the information. And so after the server does something with that information, you'll be redirected to another web page with some response, like whether failure, successful, whatever it is, but it'll give you some response. So again, you're going to fill out the information. You're going to hit the submit button. It's going to go to a server. The server is going to process the data that you just entered in the form, do something with it, and then it's going to redirect you to another web page with some response. And that's basically how a form works. So to quickly recap, again, a user will fill out the information in a form. This information goes to a server, and that server is going to process the information that was filled out in that form. It's going to do something with it, and then after it does, it's going to redirect you to another web page with some response, let you know that it was successful or whatever. But that's really just how a form works, and we need to know that because in the future, when we talk about JavaScript, we're going to use JavaScript to deal with the information. Okay? All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.